welcome to the program. It's What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. Gratitude, immense gratitude to Villa Rosa Kempinski for granting us this ballroom to take the show from. We start the year on a super happy note because guess what? We have great news for you. If you've been having dreams of, fitness, na si zile tu za kwenda kwa gym and then you give up, fitness for a cause, health, milestones, accomplishments, achievements. Let me stop belaboring the point. I have with me, first show this year, a panel of ladies. Just have a look at them. When you look at them, what do you see? Accomplished, right? High achievers, and they are, by the way. I will start with the introductions. The lady on my right is no stranger, at least to me. She's Empress.
I got an empire.
You see, we haven't even started and you see. Empress Shiko Kimani Moneki.
Yes.
And Moneki is your husband's name.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is so good to see you.
And good to see you again.
Thank you. We have a doctor, Faith Mwende Christopher. Doctor, not ile daktari, finance. So Madhafu people, you've knocked maths, finance. She has a doctorate in finance and she has done a million other things she'll be telling us about. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Looking good in red.
Thank you very much.
Yes, our tummies are tucked. We decided on that before the show. And we have Dr. Irene Njeri Njogu. Welcome to the show. She's a psychologist and also very passionate about adolescent mental health, which is the foundation of our conversation today. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Beautiful as well. Why do you look so calm and you want like that during the show? Ama, it's like a personality that has to show up, eh?
So it's mountain mode. I think
Oh, mountain mode is quiet. So she just brought it up. This ladies they're going to be the first all-female Kenyan team seeking to summit Mount Everest. Have I used the right word, summit?
Yes.
Yes.
It's summit.
Yes.
You'd think I have, I haven't. And that's the passion. And it all stems from somewhere. So how do three women come together and decide, we want to do this? And why do they want to do the Everest even? So I will, I think, start with Shiko, because I know her, to tell me how you all met, how you know each other.
We know each other because of the mountains. I'm a bit of a late joiner, so I found when they had already established this. I don't know, maybe you want them to explain.
Oh, so you are the late comer?
Yeah, I'm the late
like
comer.
the last born?
Yes.
Who is the first born?
And I'm the last born. Irene
Is
and this. No, I don't know who's the. I think Irene is the first born.
Irene, you're the first born.
Yes.
Okay. But
True.
before I go to the first born, no, you're right. Let Irene establish.
Okay, so this mountaineering journey started in June. Actually, earlier, we started talking with Dr. Faith. She's a friend of mine. We go to the same church. And she's been a mountaineer for a while. She started climbing mountains from what age?
From when I think I grew up like that. I come from a very hilly place called Kilungu in Makueni.
Okay.
A very hilly, nice place, and we used to go for hiking. And I remember maybe the very first hike I can remember was in class 3 to a place called Mount Chauta in Kilungu.
So you start climbing mountains from class 3?
Yeah. So it's become a lifestyle. So it's something you can't pick when it actually started.
Yeah.
But it's just something you grew up
like
my
that.
family we just used to do adventures and grew up like that. My brother, who is my trainer, my brother Steve Macau, he's even now my trainer. We've just been doing climbs and adventure. Yeah. And the nature, actually the nature is basically what we've been doing. Yes.
So the two of you friends fellowship in the same church and you decided to what?
So she told me about going to Everest and she's like, she wants to go with a cause. And we know how mental health is in our country and even globally. So we're like, okay, why don't we talk about mental health awareness? And my interest is the young, especially adolescents, because statistics show that 75% of mental health challenges start in this age group.
Okay.
So if we can be able to raise awareness and help them transition through this period.
Right.
I'm sure you remember your adolescence.
Yeah.
And how everything felt like nobody
No one
understands you.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just helping them transition through this phase, you know, to adulthood easily, or in a better way.
Right.
It's where now the focus came in. So we're like, why don't we have a reason to go up? So initially, I was just supporting her.
Yeah.
I'm a founder of Tunza Afya Africa, a mental health awareness organization. So I was like, okay, as we'll back you up, we'll go with you. And she introduced me to KG, the first Kenyan citizen to summit Everest.
Oh, wow.
He summited in April this year.
April 2022.
2022, last year, sorry. When we met, and of course he talked us through it, he told us what the pointers we need to do. And I was like, okay, yeah, Faith, we'll back you up. Yes, we'll do this. So one day he says, why don't you go as a team, not one person? So I was like, okay, Faith, look for people. I will still support it. Still support, yes. Then in one of the meetings we were having, he's like, why do you keep looking for people? Why can't you join? And I'd hurt my knee in 2020 in the gym. Okay. So I knew outdoorsy things may not be really good for me.
Right.
And then he tells me I was supposed to go for a knee replacement surgery before going to Everest.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, if you can hike with a knee that's that bad that needs replacement. So I was like, so how do you do it? It's like, you just know how to step. You know,
wow.
You're conscious of every move you make, so you don't put any pressure on the knee. And just like that, I started. And before we knew it, we were two. Shiko came along, and this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Faith, why did you want to do Everest? I mean, I read your profile. I said, I'll just let you tell your own story because you have done this before. A lot of things around that mountain. First, where is that mountain located even?
Yeah, thank you. So the mountain is located in Nepal, and actually I'd done Mount Kenya. I'd done so many times, 6 times. I'd done Kilimanjaro twice, and all the other small mountains and the Aberdares countless times. So the first time I was looking for a challenge, a bigger challenge, and I decided to do the Everest up to the base camp. And the moment, and actually for me, mountaineering is a way of like mental health, like refreshing, like just being out there in the nature is just refreshing.
Yeah. And
you're able to connect with God. So when I did Everest last year in 2021, that was in October. That was after I finished and graduated with my doctorate. So it was a way of celebrating my doctorate, and also a way of reflecting, thanking God for so many things, the doctorate, life, my family. So it was just a way of celebrating. And when I went there, it was really amazing. Just looking, because once you get from Nairobi, you get to Kathmandu. It is a city busy with people, climbers. So from there, from Kathmandu, we go to Lukla, where we start now the climb. So the Everest region, just seeing all those above 6,000 peaks, whereby I think for Nepal standard, 6,000 meters above sea level is just normal.
Good Lord. Is it like a hilly country?
Yeah, it's a country full of hills and peaks. So because the Everest is just the highest, but there are so many other peaks like Amada Blam, there is Choyu. So you find so many peaks which are above 6,000, others 7,000, others 8,000, then Island Peak. So you just look at the peaks and you just see the amazing nature, the wonders of God's creation. So that connecting with nature, reflecting, connecting with God, telling God thank you, because sometimes even, because I'm also a mental health coach.
Okay.
After graduating in mental health classes, I realized there's a lot in the mental health space, because I'm also a mentor, a youth mentor.
Yes.
I do a lot in mentoring the young people.
Right.
And this started from just back in my village, where, because I was in Precious Blood, so I would go back there, talk to the girls, because I saw what happened when I was in Precious Blood. The girls went ahead of us, would come and talk to us, and I'd look at them like, wow, if they were here and I've made it, then I can make it. So I saw the impact it had when those PB alumni used to come, and that's something I wanted to do even to the girls.
Okay.
Then also even my primary school, Kitangadeni Primary School in Makueni, I would go there and talk to them because I was there and I'm here. Even the secondary school, where back in my village, just giving back to the community, where I'm also a board member there, just to give back to the community. So all that kind of things, even and also when I met, because Irene, we go to the same church together, as she said. Sometimes we would also go to encourage the young people in high schools even on mental health, and just encourage them.
Yeah.
So, and you see, the mountain also teaches you, like we did Hell's Gate like 2 weeks ago, and I was encouraging them. We do rock climbing, because it's a good skill when you're up there, when you're going to the Everest. So when we did that, I was so amazed at what they did. It was their first time, and Shiko was.
You should see what she did. I'll send you a video what she did.
Shiko was like, "Let's do it," and they're there, and they're doing the rock climbing the first time, and I was amazed. So it was mountaineering and the outdoor gives you that mental strength, because they just did it and they were like, "We'll do it," because the rock was like this.
Yeah.
And they did it, and because in rock climbing it also helps you just don't climb, you have to look at the next move. Where do you put your next foot? Where do you put your next? It has to be strategic. So it also gives you that mental strength, focus. And I think all sports give you focus. You have to focus and that resilience when you're climbing the mountain, because your target is the summit.
Yes.
And just like life, you find that you'll meet a lot of struggles, but you have to just focus on the target to get to the summit. So this getting to the top of the world, because when I go to the top of Africa, that was Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
I like the next thing I should get to the top of the world. That was Mount Everest, with a course.
With a cause, not just going there.
Not just going.
That's so
and
profound.
Also the support from my family,
Yes.
my brothers, my mom, my dad. They really support. So I think in everything you're doing, the support base is very important.
It's important.
For even my family, even I was doing my doctorate, the support base from them was very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll come to the support a little later on. But so last born, how did you meet these two ladies?
These two ladies were first friends of my husband.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so because we're documenting, the journey is being documented.
Okay.
And he happens to be the guy who's documenting it.
I see.
But in 2021, I had a total hip replacement surgery. So like now I'm a bionic woman, you know, I have a whole new hip for the left side. So part of the recovery of this is to keep it moving. Yeah, you have to move it.
Exercise is
important.
important.
You have to, yes, it's very important.
Okay.
But also having said that, I've always been a very outdoorsy person, but not as organized as Faith. Mine has always been like random, but when I think about it, it's like I have been out there so much.
Yeah.
Like I you know, even climbing mountains, but without the planning.
Yes.
But this was because of I needed to keep moving.
Yeah.
So I started with, of course, the compound movements, then the village movements. Then we went to Karura for some time. It got boring and I was getting stronger. And then one day he just said, "Why don't you come and join us?" That time we were going to Ngong, yeah?
Yeah, it was Ngong Hills.
And the thought of Ngong was so daunting. You know, it's like, oh my God, I can't even, it was really scary.
Right.
But I'm like, you know, if I think I can't do it,
Then
I'll just stop. So,
Yeah.
but I'll have tried something.
Right.
So I went. And I did. I remember my Irene, I think she was more worried for me because it was good to have her as a doctor. She's also a medical doctor, so that helps. So it was Irene and I, sort of on the same pace.
Yeah.
And
because Dr. Faith Izuko, she
wow,
has,
this one is, we can't see her anymore.
She reached while you were starting.
But she's actually very good because we have a group that we say nobody get left behind. So we've got the Team Subarus, of course, who go up, but there are also the people who once in a while, even her, she will remain and like sweep. Yeah, so there's that thing of being with each other. So anyway, Irene was with me like step by step. It was a foot after another. I was still walking very awkwardly because, you know, I was used to the limping. But it took us like what, 8 hours? Yeah, it took us about 8 hours to summit.
Ngong Hills.
Yes,
To
but
finish,
I
actually.
did. Yeah.
To finish.
And back.
We did 8.
Yeah,
Up
to
and
and,
down.
to and fro.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did, and I think at some point I was teary, but it was also the disbelief. It was painful. It was hard. I was sweating. I was scared because, you know, the last thing you want to do is fall when you have a new hip, because the minute you go down, it will dislodge.
My God.
Yeah, because it hasn't attached properly
Yes.
at that point. So it was like Faith was just saying, this mountaineering is such a mental thing, because you also learn to know how to tune your head and your body. They have to learn to listen to each other and, you know like, okay, right now your body is suffering, but is it suffering because you're just lazy, or you just need a rest, and you just sit back and listen?
Yes.
Yeah, but also that mental thing of, I can just do one more
step.
Yeah. Then we learn how to count. When it gets hard, you just count like 100 steps and then stop for like 20.
100?
100 steps up to, up to 100. Then stop like 20. Sometimes you do 10 because the elevation is so sharp.
Yeah.
But there's that thing of you counting. But it means every time you count, you're moving further to where you're going. So every count means you're moving. So it doesn't matter whether it's 2 steps or 20 steps or 100, but you're moving.
Yeah.
So it's the mental thing. So anyway, after that, I think I was hooked, and I'm like, I did it. I can do this.
Yeah.
So I intensified the training, the walking. And also it's when I was at my lowest with the hip and the pain and everything, I had added a lot of weight. I think in the last like a year or two before that, I had like piled up like 10 kilos.
Okay.
And then this became a way of, but then they just fall off.
Yeah.
They just fall. You know, one day you're there and you're like, oh, my clothes can fit me now, So there's also that one.
Yeah.
So after that, and I think it was on the third climb where she asked, do you want to come? And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's Everest. What am I even thinking? Then I decided, because along the way I had decided I'll be saying yes to everything as long as it's legal, as long as I can live with it, as long as I can create time for it.
Right.
So I will not let fear stop me from trying something, because the only reason I would have said no to Everest was the fear of the enormity of the exercise. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, let's do Everest. And then like the second time we went back to Ngong, how long did it take us to do up and down? 4 hours. Or 5.
Half the time.
Half the time.
Yeah.
It was half the time.
They were almost in Subaru.
Yeah.
They were catching up with it?
Yes. In fact, I think what took us longer is that because I also go with my kids. I have some adolescent kids.
Yes.
And
you've pulled in your family now.
Yes. So when sometimes the altitude gets them, especially at the first climb, so I can't leave them. So I have to stay behind. Only that when they recover, nobody remembers they have a mother. So I'm left behind, doing my own thing. Yeah, but the improvement has been massive. And at this rate, there is no reason not to believe that I can do Everest.
God, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
So you've talked about altitude, and I want to bring in, because I know there's something to do with breathing. You who has done all the mountains in the world, how do you prepare for that breathing? Because what I have read, I mean, the only hill I've climbed is the one I was telling you. We start with the upper hill. Upper hill. You get somewhere and you're short of breath.
Yeah.
How does one prepare for that?
Yeah, basically the preparation is like what you're doing. If you want to do a high altitude mountain, you start with low mountains. Like the way Shiko said that we started with Ngong. We started with Kilimabogo, we went to Ngong, we went to Longonot. When we went to Aberdares, we did Elephant Hills. then we did Satima, and then Mount Elgon. So when you look at those mountains, all of them, that one thing you'll see is the consistency of the elevation. You start with the low, like that, because if we woke up and went to Elgon, which is 4,000 and something, it would, maybe the altitude would, but because we started with the small ones, whereby the body is acclimatizing. And then like for Elgon, because it's 4,000 and something.
220.
Yeah.
So we did in 2 days.
The facts are here.
It's the third highest mountain in Africa.
In Africa.
So,
Not highest, by the way, yeah.
we discovered this when we got to the
Yeah.
north.
Oh, okay.
And we're like,
Yes. Yeah. So you find that we actually had a stopover at some point so that we acclimatize. So if we go there on Saturday, we get out to a certain elevation, then we spend, then Sunday we summit, and then we come back. So because we do our hikes over the weekend, so that's basically that kind of a preparation is very important. The breathing, and also during the you also stay active,
Right.
like jogging in the morning or swimming. And also because we have Dr. Irene here, we'll also tell guys about the diet.
I was going to ask, actually, that was my next question to you, actually, like Dr. Irene. Is there any special diet one has to, consume?
just clean eating. What we tell everybody to eat, just clean eating. And I believe it's tried and tested. If you decide this is a week for junk, when you go to the mountains, your body tells you, oh, the bloating. And
So give me clean eating examples.
Standard, a balanced plate that is vegetable, protein, and carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay.
Complex
Demystify the
meaning-
complexity of these carbohydrates.
Not like if you're doing chapati, do brown chapati. If you're doing ugali, do the one that is whole, the one that kisiagi, not this number one, very light one.
Okay.
Yeah. Ngwashes, ndomas.
So no cereal or
It's-
yogurt.
It's not bad. You
Okay.
can do that because that actually is a healthy snack. And of course, one of the snacks we do when we're going is fruits,
Okay.
especially grapes. Like when you're going up, because there's a point your sugar's just deep.
Oh.
And you discover you're becoming sluggish, you're starting to get tired. So at times you're like, okay, is this altitude sickness hitting me? Or when you pop 2 or 3 grapes, the energy comes back and you're able to continue. Nuts also are very good when we're hiking.
And water.
Yeah,
everywhere.
just to add on that preparation, as you're saying, even when you are climbing,
Yeah.
is the pace. I remember one time when I was there in KG, the first Kenyan to summit in Everest. He also mentioned that always when you're climbing whichever mountain, just go with your pace. Don't compete with anyone.
True.
Don't compare and compete.
Yeah.
Achana na team Subaru, let them go.
Just go with
That's
your
good
pace.
advice.
Yeah, so if you whatever your pace is, just go with it.
Right.
Just remember the target, and then also listen to your body. And then, as they said, water. Take a lot of water. It's like medicine when you're up in the mountain.
Right. Okay.
Actually, can I add something?
Yeah,
Just,
shortly before we take a
thinking,
break.
Yeah, when the altitude thing, because it's very important, because altitude sickness up there hits you very strange. Because I think, like for me, the first thing I feel is like somebody is pulling my feet. It's like I'm dragging
Is it?
luggage with my feet. So it's
Yeah, it comes differently.
Really?
I feel so needy, and then you start feeling your heart boom, 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 your heart beats so fast, and there's a bit of a headache. So when you feel that, you stop.
Yeah, take some water,
Take some water.
take some rest.
Yes, breathe. Then if you feel like your body is going back to normal, then you can continue. Because there's also a point where it can get worse when you're still at the same time. Then you don't want to continue with the altitude sickness. So you have to listen to what your body is telling you and know how to listen to the altitude sickness.
Just to add on what she said, sometimes that's why you realize when you are hiking, especially the high altitude mountain, you sometimes you hike high and come and sleep low. Like I can give an example. When we got to Everest, you go to like the first elevation maybe is 2,000. Then you go to a place called Paktin. Then you go to another place called Namche, which is around 3,000. And then you stay there for like another extra day. so that you can go hike up, just like 2 meters up, and then come down. You just for the acclimatization.
Yeah.
So like this, you hike up, then come and sleep low. It also helps.
Okay, I'm about to be sold into the whole mountaineering thing, but maybe not just yet. But we take a short, quick commercial break. Don't go away. We return, and who knows, they just may have an opening for you to join them in the excursion happening a few months from now, right after the break. It's What's Your Story? I'm Catherine Mwangi. We hope that this show so far has tickled your adventure bone for 2023, because you're speaking to the First Lady team that will be summiting Mount Everest in a few weeks. So far, we have established what they have done, the newcomers, and how Dr. Irene, you know, all along was just their long distance relationship, but now she's very close. Lastborn joined amidst a painful journey recovering her hip replacement surgery. And Team Subaru, she has been to all of those mountains and maybe more, because after you summit the Everest, where else do you go, right? So that is Dr. Irene Njeri Njogu, a psychologist, medical doctor, and of course very passionate about mental health for adolescents. The cause on which this adventure is based on, that's Dr. Faith Mwende Christopher, and she is a doctor in finance, doctorate in finance. Just clear that for us. Wait, I'll come to you. And Shiko Kevani Mwaneki, an accomplished author. I think she's gonna be writing her 4th book in this year, and also a columnist with one of our established papers here in Nairobi, Kenya. Karibuni sana. So an author, a finance chick, and a doctor together. Me, msiniake hapo. My mountain to climb is Upper Hill for now. I'm learning how to breathe while climbing Upper Hill. But yeah, let's talk about your finance accomplishments. I need for that to be clear, because I feel so bad just saying Madafu and whatever. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as I said, my background is finance. I've done my doctorate in finance. My thesis was in derivatives, and I work with the Capital Markets Authority as a senior compliance officer. So the finance is just the financial markets, like where if you want to invest, like if it's a business that wants to invest in, like you have a business and you want to raise capital, you can come to the Capital Markets Authority, and you raise capital, you list, you can issue your shares in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. It's an interest I gained when I was doing my
mountaineering. It was not enough to just do finance. You had to go on mountains. And Shiko, you were telling me about your 4th book coming up this year.
Yes, yes. It's a kind of new thing, because I've never done short stories. I find it very hard to do short stories, because I talk as much as I write, so, which is a lot. You know, it's a lot. Yeah. So typically short stories are between like 2,000 or 3,000 words. I couldn't do it.
That's a short story.
That's a very short story. That's a column. That's 2 columns. That's 2 columns.
Okay.
So my books is between 8,000 and 10,000 words per short-ish story. Okay. So it's something I'm trying, because I think we can't be stuck on the same place. You know, I mean, I can't be afraid of trying things.
Evolving.
Exactly.
And Dr. Irene, tell me the ventures you're on now, especially the adolescents.
Well, what we're doing now is going to schools, trying to empower them. Just the main thing is encouraging self-awareness. You know, there's a lot happening. If you look at what adolescents are facing now compared to what we faced. We're still young, though.
You're right, actually.
Yeah. A few years ago, what we were facing, we didn't have social media the way we have it now. So you can imagine peer pressure on steroids, you know. So just helping them understand who you are, and you know, finding your footing in this walk of life. So going to schools, empowering them on that, getting some of them to come hike with us. That's why it's fun having Shiko's daughters, Waboi and Gadoni hiking with us. So apart from that, in as much as we empower the adolescents, we also have to empower the parents, because they go back home to the situations they find there. So it has to be the entire community. So not just the adolescents, but also workplaces and even in the community.
So is it something that is open, Dr. Faith, to the public? Like if I was to say, for example, if you have a hike this Saturday, and let me just use me, and Dan wants to join. First, is it open to like even the men, and is it open to the public for your weekly, or how often?
Thank you. Yeah, it's open to everyone, because that's for the support. Because I remember when you had Dr. Irene saying that when KG mentioned that we can go, I was like, yeah, the more the merrier. Why can't we have more ladies going up? And then also, as you're going up, you can't go alone. You need the support team.
Yeah.
You know, like I believe God lives in the mountains, whether you're a Christian
I've heard
or
mountaineers say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So personally, when I go, before I climb, in my head, I say a small prayer and I ask the mountain to, favor me, be in my favor.
Nice.
Sometimes when I'm halfway and I'm having some trouble, I'm like, come on, really? So we said
We
we're
talk.
going to take hands.
We talk.
That kind of thing. Yeah, but there's also that feeling you get when you get to the
Stillness.
summit. There's a stillness.
Yes.
There's a purity in the whole
Yeah.
thing that it's like something washing over you. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. There's just
I
something,
feel
just
it.
feel
I
like
sense
something
even as
washes
you
over you.
imagine
Thinking,
it.
I am in presence of God.
Yeah. And just like the way the first person who summited Mount Everest, called Sir Edmund Hillary, he said it's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves.
It's ourselves, actually, yes.
Yeah. So when I go to the base camp, I looked at the top and I like, this is something doable.
Yeah.
So when I came back, I remember when I was there heading to the base camp, and Irene had called, my very good friend. We actually even in the choir together. She really sings very well.
Oh,
she
we
didn't
sing.
sing.
We
She
sing.
should.
Beautifully.
Y'all don't tell me you sing and you don't sing. We
Yeah, I
shall
don't
be
sing. She sings.
She has
shall
a beautiful
back
voice. So I remember that the way I was saying, because I remember she called me when I was around 4,000, was it 3,000 or 4,000? And she was cheering me on.
When you say call, she's shouting your name.
No, she called me when I was in Everest on
Oh,
WhatsApp.
okay.
Because that's something I didn't tell you. And the Everest, you can
There's
get
network.
the network, because up to maybe around 3,000 to almost 4,000, there's network. And then because there's a place called Namche Bazaar, which is a very interesting town, which it has so many amenities, schools, even social places, coffee places.
Real humans live there.
Yes.
In the mountain.
Yes, and then there is a network. Then when you start moving to 4,000, now you realize then that you buy some link called Everest link, so you're able to still get network.
Okay.
So she called me when I was there. She was like, yeah, I'm cheering you on. We will support you. That's why she's saying she was always on the support team. We will support you.
Yes.
When you come back, we will support you to go to the top.
So, when I'm summiting,
Yes.
let me use your words.
Yeah.
I can't, there's no tea.
Chai ya kukunywa.
I
love the things you're worried about.
No, because I'm a tea person.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining if I'm going to do this and if I have tea, I'm good. Then you're telling me there's no tea. Like we can't carry a stove, like
Life
that
is
life
not as normal.
What are you drinking? Just water?
You take water, but also you also invest in gears so that like when you're going to the very top, you get gears that can keep the if it's a camel bag that will carry the water. You can also have some which can carry your tea.
Okay. Like a flask.
Like a flask that will keep your tea warm, and then you will put it there so you can if you get
about a month in Everest without tea.
Without tea.
But then when you come back to the place you're going to you'll be spending the night, you'll find out, because we'll have now the Sherpas who will now prepare at
You
the
keep
tea.
saying Sherpas. Who are these people? They're people, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Oh, sorry. The Sherpas are the people in the Everest region. They're mountaineers. I remember there's a time we went to a place where one of the Sherpas had gone to Everest, summited Everest 15 times. and he was going now to the next one. So it's doable. You just need to prepare mentally, and also prepare physically. Because even he told us 15 times. Look at him like 15. And you're here.
And what do you eat? Do you carry food? Like, is there cooking? No, I'm thinking picnic, and maybe it's not picnic.
Yeah, because you have porter. Then they'll carry you. They can carry your bags, and they will take you to the next. Like if you move from this point to the next, they'll carry you to the next level. Then you'll find and even the food you'll be cooked.
So all the foods she talked about.
Yeah. So what you do, you'll hike and then you come back and eat. When you go to the next one, they carry it to the next. They carry your bag and everything to the next. So those are the shepherds, are the people in the mountain region, the Mount Everest region. And they really, they're the ones who will take you to the top, and yeah.
So there's definitely a cost, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me hear.
Yeah, so basically the cost will include even the cost of gear, because we're looking for gear. Like we need, if it's a shoe, you need a waterproof shoe. Because even the gear to the base camp is different from the gear to the top. So,
Kwani, and you're saying that's not soft life. This shoe cannot start me here at the base to the end. I cannot. I have to change somewhere in the middle.
You're moving to, I mean, you're going to 8,000 meters above sea level.
You know, the base camp is like around 5,360.
Kilimanjaro or something.
Almost
higher.
Kilimanjaro.
5,800? Yeah.
It's 5,300 something.
That's base camp.
That's base camp. Kilimanjaro is almost 6,000 and something. So you get to the base camp, and then now from there, you'll even use different kinds of shoes, crampons, because you'll be walking in this ice, glaciers. So you need the crampons, you need the harness, the ropes. That's now we will be going the axe. So these are different gears, because now from that point I said called Lukla, and that's an airport on the hill. I think it's the most scary airport because it just comes and lands and goes up. That's from now Kathmandu to Lukla. So now from Lukla now to the base camp, it's doable with the normal shoes and good boots. But now when you start getting to now from there, now we'll need now those kind of different gears. Even the Sami suit will be different. Wow. Because now that would be a bit cold. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's quite the cost, eh? So so for one person, what's the give or take? What's a figure?
To the base camp, about 500,000 shillings. To the summit, about 7 million.
7 million.
Yeah.
So what kind of support are you looking for? Can you all articulate that? We'll start with you.
Support first, financial. Financial support. So we are appealing to corporates, we are appealing to the government, because I think it's very important for our government, because the other thing to do is, remember, we are also selling Kenya as a tourist, as an adventure tourist destination, because we have been documenting this whole thing and putting it up online. And we've got people interested. So we are looking for support from the government. We are looking for support from individuals and corporates. And no money is too little. Even that 100, it will go towards something. And we will make sure that the money is well used and accounted for.
So over to you guys for your support. So my last question to you ladies would be, climbing all of the mountains and hills that you have, okay, let me not call, I'm the one for upper hill. The mountains that you have summited so far, how has that changed you? And I'll start with you, Dr. Irene. How has that changed who you are?
Resilience. You know, when you're starting, after the first one, I remember after we did a book with Dr. Faith, when I got back to the van, I was like, okay, when you get to the summit, it's an amazing feeling. But then you come back, you're like, wait, am I sure I'm no longer I'm in this, you know? Yeah. But then as you keep moving, it gets, let me not say easier, but the challenge doesn't feel too big, you know? So, which of course now shows you nothing is too difficult. It's all in the mind, you know? If you tell yourself you're going to summit, really nothing stops you. Satima was cold. It wasn't a bad terrain, but somehow. And at some point, I remember Faith was like, I was telling her, it got to a point, I started singing. Because I was like, here, I need to summon the Holy Spirit to come and give me energy to finish. And it makes you realize that if you put your mind to something and you put your focus to it, you can achieve. And that's how life is. And look at people who have mental health challenges. Just because you are having a condition doesn't mean you can't achieve whatever it is you put your mind to.
Yeah.
And the same way we keep saying, I don't like when someone says, I'm diabetic. No, you're not. You have diabetes. Don't own it. Yeah. So even with a mental health condition, nothing should stop you. Life is there to be lived, and nobody should be looked at differently because they're going through a challenge. So it's taught me to look at life from a different perspective.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. I am not diabetic. I just have, it's just a condition I have that I can overcome.
Yeah.
Love it. Dr. Faith?
Yeah, in addition to what Dr. Irina said, learned, because that also what I've learned, I've also learned patience. You see, like, though it will take to get to the summit of a mountain, it's just like in life, sometimes some things will take time, and so don't give up. It will still get there.
I love that. And Empress?
I feel like they've said everything, but I've...
First of all, for you, your husband is documenting it. You go with your children as well. So it's like a family transformation thing going on.
Yeah, it's a family thing. Now is when you have nothing to, you're looking for a weekend plot. You're like, Longonot or Ngong, or, you know, it's an awesome place to be, by the way. But like to add on what they're saying is you learn to run your race, by the way. Because this thing, and it's the problem we have generally, you're like, I need to have what Catherine has. I need to have what she does, and like instantly. And then you do all these things, and like she says, you forget to enjoy the process. So run your race, because it's always so much tempting to watch. When I watch Faith disappear, and I'm thinking, you know, I can, naweza. And then I forget, Faith is not at the same place I am. Yeah, not mentally, not physically. You know, our goals are different. Maybe she's pushing herself today for time, because sometimes we do that, and I'm like, today I need to push. I see how much I can, how fast I can do this today. The other days you're thinking, today I'll just enjoy the scenery.
Right.
Yeah, naenda tu pole pole. And also there's that thing of like, sometimes a race can look, a mountain can look very easy, and then you realize it is not.
Looks are deceiving.
Yeah, they are deceiving. So do not judge that book by that cover. Like, that's why you need to speak to the mountain. It's like, okay, I know you're lower than Nani over there, but please,
Be nice.
give me this.
My goodness. I mean, I am super enlightened. I wish I could. Okay, maybe, when's your next mountain? Not the Everest one, the one for weekends. I can come be your cheerleader.
January is like how?
We can plan, we'll communicate.
Or I'll find out through your social media pages.
Social media, yes.
Our page.
Social media.
There's a page? Which one?
No Summit Too High. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also have a website, www.nosummittoohigh.info. So where we document everything, and all the information is there.
No Summit Too High, one word.
Yes.
.info.
.info.
All the Instagram,
Facebook,
Twitter. You should be on LinkedIn.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, you need to open one, because I've seen a couple of people who do those things from other countries. I've seen like these groups or hashtags that I think you'd get lots of traction there as well. Yeah, you just never know. But I want to thank you so very much for coming on the show today. And I will check the No Summit Too High Twitter page or Facebook page to see which mountain you're conquering next here in Kenya this month of January or February. And to those watching, again, nosummittoohigh.info or No Summit Too High. That's the name of their social media pages where all the info is there. And I can guarantee that they respond very fast. Should you have any questions, or should you be willing to support, or maybe you have also conquered mountains and you have a couple of tips, and just these things, we just help each other here in 2023. So it's a fast show this year, so you have the opportunity to look into the camera and now kupatia opportunity ya kupitisha salamu, or to give people an inspirational word to thrust and pivot them forward. I will start with you.
There.
Right there.
I shall repeat something. Happy New Year, first of all. Happy 2023. May all your dreams, the realistic ones, by the way, may they come to fruition. And remember to run your race. Run your race. Wachana na hao wengine. You don't know what they have, how equipped they are. Run your race, but also give it your best. If you've given it your best, then you'll be fine. Happy New Year once again.
I like that a lot. There's something I'm always saying. Your race, your pace, your grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're graced for your race. So
And different weather.
yeah, everybody has their own measure and portion. Dr. Faith, your turn.
Okay, Happy New Year to everyone. And just to say something which I was taught by a young girl, 9 years, when we were going up to the mountain. That was Dr. Irene's niece. So she said, nobody, no summit too high and nobody too small. So that's what she told me. And I think that's a message maybe from her to everyone. No summit too high, nothing you can't achieve, and nobody too small. That's what she told me.
No summit too high?
Nobody too small.
Nobody too small.
That was from a 9-year-old.
Yeah. Is that where the name came from? No summit too high?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Copied.
So, your turn.
Happy New Year, 2023. As you've heard, I'm passionate about wellness. What I would emphasize on this year, please focus on your self-care. We're too busy running around. We forget to smell the coffee. Take your time, breathe, process it pole pole, and ain't no mountain high enough. Join us.
Okay, and we hope you can also join in and support. What a show to start the year. So there's no more saying, I have no plot this weekend. If you go to No Summit Too High on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you'll see the plot. And like Shiko, you join with your husband, your partner, your spouse, your kids, your nieces, your nephews, like Dr. Irene, her dad, her niece. Oh my goodness, so maybe I will join and cheer from the base, just there, the base, you know. Yeah, so we promise that they will be singing, the ones who sing in the choir. So for now, we say goodbye, but it's not over because we have to sing. And a Happy New Year to you as well.
Nikilemewa nishike, nikilemewa nishike, nikilemewa nishike, nioneshe njia yako Bwana, nikilemewa nishike, nikilemewa nishike, nikilemewa nishike, nioneshe njia yako